on Amazon for the holidays. These are all things that are on sale. We're going to check them out today. And just hold tight. We're going to get started with our stream in just a minute. And you can ask all of your questions in the chat. We're going to talk about some of my top holiday gadget picks on Amazon. So I'm Thomas Smith. I'm here from DIY Life Tech. And today we're talking about some of my top holiday gadget picks on Amazon. So these are all things that you can get on Amazon that are on sale for the holidays. There's really great deals, really cool stuff, and we're going to dive in and talk about a bunch of it here. So let's start off with an e-reader. I'm going to jump over to the Kindle Oasis here. So I've actually been using this for over a year now, and this is the kind of the top of the line Kindle from Amazon at the moment. So if you're not familiar with Kindle, this is Amazon's e-reader, and I'm the sort of person that normally likes to read physical books. So I like to have the actual pages, and it was a little bit of an adjustment to read an e-reader, and that's why I chose the Kindle. So the things I like about the Kindle Oasis here, it's really very similar to the experience of reading a physical book, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that the screen is actually not like the screen in your cell phone or a tablet, where it's pixels and it's illuminated through those pixels and it kind of looks grainy, and I find it just hard to read on one of those screens. The difference here is that this is actually e-ink, and so it's actually ink behind the screen here, physical ink in the screen. And it actually uses electricity to move that ink around on the screen here and actually form the words that you're reading. So that's a pretty cool technology. To be able to actually have ink in the screen and move it around electrically and set it up so that you can actually see that as if you're reading the physical page of a book. And the thing that I love about that is that it really is the same resolution you would get if you were reading like a paperback book with actual ink, except you're getting it on this device where you get all the advantages of an e-reader, where you can switch things up or try out a new book, buy one if you're on the go, and it's super light if you want to take it along on a trip. But again, it's really very much like that experience of using an actual book and reading physical ink on a page, because you actually are reading physical ink on a page. It's just being created, basically drawn for you electronically. So I think that's a really cool capability here with the Kindle Oasis. And we are live here, so I see some people are just starting to join us. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'm very happy to answer any questions that you have about any of the gadgets that we're talking about today. Today I'm sharing some of my top picks for holiday gadgets, things that are on sale, and just great things to get as gifts for yourself or for a loved one over the holidays. So again, this is just like reading an actual book because there's actual ink being repositioned on the screen there. But there's some advantages with the Kindle Oasis versus a paperback book or a traditional book. And one of those is that, again, it's very portable. So it's super thin. It's much thinner, oftentimes lighter than a physical book. And that makes it really easy to take with you, especially if you're going on vacation or you have another reason why you want to be pretty light moving around. It's nice to be able to have the Kindle Oasis here where it's super easy to take with you and it's super thin, but you still get that good high-resolution e-ink screen on it. Another advantage versus a traditional book is that, with a traditional book, if you're reading it in the tub or you're reading it at the beach and you drop it, it's probably not going to hold up super well because of that. And obviously with a physical paper book, you can damage it, you can soak it in water, and that's not going to do well. The cool thing with the Kindle Oasis, though, is that it's actually waterproof. So you can actually read this in the tub, you can read it at the beach. It's great if you're traveling over the holidays and you're in a location where you want to be able to read at the beach. This is a really great device to be able to do that and to be able to basically take it anywhere and not have to worry about damaging the e-reader. So if you have any questions, I see some people are joining us live, so thank you. This is live. If you have any questions at all, please do put them in the chat, and I'm very happy to answer any questions that you have about any of the products that we're talking about here today. If you're enjoying the stream, please do press the follow button. It really helps. So again, Kindle Oasis, It's very portable, very light, very thin. You can see how big this actually is. It's definitely smaller than most paperback books in terms of the thickness, unless you're reading a very, very short book. But of course, the other advantage is, as with any Kindle e-reader, you have access to the Kindle store, and you can buy books on the go. So if you're on the beach and you're reading this, and or by the pool with the waterproof screen, and you decide you want to switch books, or you hear about a book that you like when you're traveling, or even when you're at home and you don't feel like waiting to get a physical copy, you can actually use the Kindle store on the Kindle Oasis and make a purchase there and get your new book and dive right in, usually in a couple of minutes. So it connects to Wi-Fi. As long as you've got Wi-Fi, I even like to connect it to the hotspot on my phone, so I can get books even if I'm, at a beach or on a road trip or whatever. You can get whatever the thing is you want to be reading at that moment, pull it up on the Kindle Oasis, and then be able to read it wherever you are, again, with the advantages of you can have a whole library, on this little device and take it with you, and you don't have to be taking a big stack of books with you on your next trip. So it's really nice to have that capability, as well as, again, the e-ink that makes this essentially like reading on a traditional book where you've got that physical ink in the screen. So the Kindle Oasis, if you have any questions at all, please do put them in the chat. I'm just going to say hello here, and you can see where that'll come up in the chat. Again, if you do have any questions, please do enter those, and I'm very happy to answer them. So this is live, and I call this a fireside chat because we've got our not real fireplace here, and it's a good opportunity to ask any of those questions that you might have. And again, I'm very happy to answer them. I really enjoy answering all your questions. So that's the Kindle Oasis, and again, some other nice things about it. It's got a backlight in the actual physical reader here, and the nice thing with that is that, well, for one thing, with the e-ink screen, you can read this in full sunlight. So if you are at the beach and you are reading out there, you're reading in any kind of a setting where you've got real sunlight, because it is that e-ink and it's actual ink under the screen here, you actually can get full readability even if it's very bright out. And it's totally in direct sunlight. It's still totally possible to read it. You're not going to get the glare and the sort of washed out appearance that you get with a lot of reading on a phone or reading on a tablet or those sort of screen-based e-readers. So I really love that. Really is like reading a physical book, and so that's a big advantage. But if you're in the dark, so say you're reading in bed at night, or you're reading in the tub and you want to turn the lights down, because again, this is waterproof, then it's nice to have this backlight. So you can have a backlight on there. You can adjust the level of the backlight, and with the Kindle Oasis, this is kind of unique to this device. You can actually change the color temperature of that backlight as well. So I'll actually pull a book up here, and you can see what the text looks like on the screen. It is a touch screen still, so you can interact with this, and you can see that really high resolution, crisp text on the screen that turns out looking great. And you can turn on that backlight, and you can actually adjust the level of the backlight and the color of the backlight. So you can see we've got a brightness setting on the screen here. Oops, looks like I closed it. Yeah, we got a brightness setting on the screen, and we got a warmth setting on the screen. So the brightness is pretty obvious. It's going to control how bright that backlight is. The warmth is kind of a cool feature, though. So when you think about color temperature of light, warm light is kind of those yellows like you'd get from an incandescent. It's kind of a warm, friendly, at home type of feel to it. Cold light is more of the bluish you'd get maybe in a workshop or from a fluorescent light, and it's more like daylight, like sunlight. And so one of the cool things is you can change the color temperature on the screen on the Kindle Oasis here, and you can decide, I want that kind of invigorating, bright bluish light, or I want more of a kind of warm, friendly, more yellowy type of light like you get from an incandescent bulb, and you can actually switch that up on the go and change out the color temperature on that screen. And that's really a cool capability because it allows you to customize that however you want it or change it throughout the day. Maybe if you're reading early in the day, you want to have more of that bluish, kind of bright light. Keep yourself awake, keep yourself invigorated. But if you're reading right before bed, maybe you don't want to have that blue light shining right out into your eyes. And so instead, you can go and make that switch and change it over to that more yellow, kind of friendly, warm light on the screen here on the Kindle Oasis e-reader. If you're just joining me, I see a bunch of people have just come in. We are live here. We're talking about the Kindle Oasis e-reader. If you have any questions at all, please put them in the chat, and please do press that follow button down there. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, it really does help. So again, some nice things with the Kindle Oasis. As I shared, it's an e-ink screen, so it's actual physical particles of ink in that screen forming the text, and it moves those around electronically. So it has these little page turn buttons you can use to switch the page, which I love. I like having a physical button that changes the page, kind of more of that book-like reading experience. It also does have a touch screen, so you can swipe across the page as well if you want to change. Let me see if looks like I'm touching it in the corner here, but you can swipe and change the pages there as well. So whatever way you like to flip pages. Again, I like having the physical buttons. Some people don't care. Some people would prefer to be able to do this on the screen, but I like that you can do it one-handed. So it's super light, it's really easy to carry in one hand, and then I can change the pages with one hand, and I have my other hand free. If I'm at the beach, I can be sipping my drink or whatever, or having a Diet Coke and sitting there and reading in the tub. And it's nice to be able to do this one-handed and be able to control the page turning with those little physical buttons that I can press with my thumb there. If you are just joining us, a bunch of people just came in, please feel free to put any questions you have in the chat. I'm very happy to answer any other questions you have about the Kindle Oasis or any of the other top tech gadgets that are on sale for the holidays that we have here. Really good price on the Kindle Oasis right now. It's going for $279.99. So that's an excellent deal on this. And this is really the top of the line e-reader from Amazon for the Kindle. I love it for travel. You get your whole library that you can take with you, and then as long as you've got Wi-Fi, or again, I connect to the hotspot on my phone if I'm in a more remote location, I can download new books. So if I hear about something, or maybe I read a magazine article about a book, I can download it right to the device in a minute or two and be ready to go and read it right on that screen. So it's a great e-reader for people who don't really like e-readers and don't want to be, reading on a screen. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like reading on an actual physical book, and I really like that element of using the Kindle Oasis. The backlight is great as well if you want to be reading at night. It's really nice to have that ability to have a backlight and read in the dark if you enjoy doing that. So that's the Kindle Oasis. If you have any questions at all, again, please do put them in the chat. I'm going to try to pull up the chat here so I can say hi to everybody who's joining us and interact a little more readily with you there. Please do, though, let me know if you have any questions at all. Please do, though, let me know if you have any questions at all. Please do, though, let me know if you have any questions at all. Please do, though, let me know. So yeah, please do let me know if you have any questions. Let me say hi to everyone here who's watching live. And again, if you do have any questions about any of the items that I'm talking about here, I'd love to help to answer those for you. So please just put them in the chat, and I'll jump in and answer those for you. So this is, again, the Kindle Oasis. You can see that it's featured there on the screen. So if you have any questions about it, just ask me. If you're enjoying watching this or getting something out of it, please do press the follow button. I'm going to see if I can point to it successfully. I think it's down there. Other side, that way. Please do follow, and you can see all of my live streams about different gadgets and holiday stuff. So let's take a look to it along with the Kindle Oasis. I'm saying, I really don't like e-readers, and this is my favorite e-reader. And one of the other reasons for that is that I like physical books. I like to read physical books. And one of the things that's nice about it is the experience of holding that physical, item, that physical book, and having the tactile aspect of that, and even the smell of that. And so one of the things I think is really cool with the Kindle Oasis is that you can actually add this this cover, this protector that you can see I've got on here, and it's actually leather. So this is a premium leather cover. I've highlighted it right now. It is actually leather, and it covers the reader. It keeps the screen protected, so if you drop this, or you're at the beach and you want to keep the sand off of it, it's got a little magnetic closure, so it opens and closes really easily, snaps into place. It's not going to fall open in your bag, and it protects the screen, so obviously that's what you'd expect of a case. But one of the cool things with it is that it's actually real leather, so it wears over time just like the cover of an old leather book, and it gets its own unique kind of patina of scratches, and it's designed to do that and to look really elegant, almost like, again, like a leather-bound volume of an old book. And you can see mine has taken on this patina of scratches through, all the travels I've done with this and all the places that I've taken it and read it and dinged it up. And it's kind of neat because it becomes really unique, and it gets some of that character that you miss with a Gadget in having this physical, very, sort of natural, real premium leather cover on the Kindle Oasis there. So if you're going to buy it, which I think you should because it's a really good deal right now if you're looking for an e-reader, I would definitely get the premium cover with it. And I think it really adds a lot to the experience. And the coolest thing with it, it even smells like an old book. So it has that leathery smell, like you're walking in an old library. And that seems a little silly, maybe, that you want your Gadget to, smell a particular way. But all of those elements of, sensory interaction, from those clicky physical buttons to change the pages, to that e-ink screen that, again, has actual ink, just like a real page of a book in there, to the smell of it. You're getting this multi-sensory touch and appearance and smell, and it really just creates that reading experience that you would otherwise lack with an e-reader. So that's one of the things I really love about the Kindle Oasis, is that you really do get that real book experience, but as close to it as you possibly can get, but with all the advantages of being waterproof and portable and super light. Something you can hold, even if you're reading War and Peace, you can hold it in one hand, and you're not going to be able to do that with a lot of physical books. So if you're just joining us, we are live, and I'm talking about the Kindle Oasis. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'll just say hi, and please put questions in the chat. It would help if I can actually type here. Whoop, I spelled that wrong. All right, so yeah, please put any questions you have in the chat, and I'm very, very happy to answer them. I love answering all of your questions about any of these gadgets. These are all things I've used in my own home, in many cases for years. I've actually had this for over a year now, the Kindle Oasis, and I find it just to be a really great book, ebook reader for travel, for if you like to read in the tub, you like to read outside. One note, the premium leather case is not waterproof, so that's a question I often get. So you do have to pop it out of the case if you do want to read it in a wet setting if you're using the premium leather case. Doing that is super easy. You just pop the physical reader out, and here it is. You can see it's even thinner out of the case. Super, super thin. And yet you got your whole library that you can carry around, literally in your pocket if you have a big enough pocket. Throw it in your suitcase, take it with you. And it's a great deal on it right now. So if you thought about getting a Kindle, if you're thinking, is this something I want to do? And you want like the primo experience. There's other Kindles, but I really like that this one has those physical page turn buttons, which the others don't. It has that adjustable backlight. It has a lot of storage, so you can put, again, your whole library on here. And I really like that it has that versatility, and it's really the top of the line Kindle. Plus you can pair it, again, because it is the top of the line Kindle, you can pair it with that premium leather case that I'm highlighting right now. And you can have that real book type of experience, down to the physical, leather smell, because it is actual premium leather on there. So this is the premium leather case. I'm going to jump over and highlight the device again. And if you want to check any of these out, just click through. You can see them, it says featured now, and you can click through and see more details about these, or check them out. Again, really good prices. These are all gadgets that I love, that I've used for years in some cases, but that are on sale right now for the holidays. So great deals if you do want to pick one of these up. And again, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. I love to answer questions that you have. One question I have for everybody is, do you have an e-reader already? You know, have you used a Kindle? And if so, what did you look for when you went to buy an e-reader? So let me ask that actually in the chat here. What do you look for in an e-reader? Are there features that are great? Are there features that bug you if you have one? Share those with me in the chat. I really love to hear from you, and this is live, so it's a great opportunity to share your thoughts on e-readers or on the Kindle if you have one. Do you have a Kindle Oasis? You know, what has your experience been? I'd really love to hear from you. So that's the Kindle Oasis. Let's take a look at some other gadgets that are on sale, some other things that I think are a great buy at the moment for the holidays. So this is the Fitbit Sense Advanced Smartwatch. I've been just sort of casually wearing it this whole time, as you've seen it on my wrist here. And I'm going to pull it out and we can take a look at it. So the Fitbit Sense is Fitbit's top-of-the-line smartwatch. And as the name implies, this has a ton of different sensors on it. So Fitbit Sense, this is really their most sort of health and fitness-oriented smartwatch. And I've been wearing Fitbits for a long time. I started using Fitbit when they announced or launched the first one. I think it was in 2009. So I've had a Fitbit on my wrist or somewhere on my body for probably more than a decade. And this particular smartwatch I've been wearing almost every minute of every day for about a year now. So I got this in September, actually more than a year, September of 2020, and I've been wearing it basically nonstop ever since then. And you can do that because it is waterproof, and you can easily wear it on your wrist and get a ton of different data about your movement, about your sleep, about exercise, about all kinds of things about you and your body and your even your stress levels, and some data that's really helpful for evaluating mental health. So if you're just joining us, we're talking live about some of the best holiday gadgets at the moment on sale on Amazon. If you have any questions at all, please do put them in the chat. I love to answer your questions. And right at the moment, we're talking about the Fitbit Sense smartwatch. So if I show the screen here, you can see you can actually pull up and get your basic statistics, and it is a touch screen on here. So I'm going to go into the Today app on the Fitbit Sense, and this is where you get all of your core data. So you've got your step count on there, you've got your distance, you've got calories burned, that's unique to you. You've got your number of active minutes, so how long you're in different heart rate zones. You've got sleep tracking data on there, which is really great to see. And you even have food logging if you want to log food right on the watch there. So again, Sense is the name of the watch. It has a lot of really great sensors built into it. Really the best suite of sensors of any wearable out there at the moment, in my opinion. So what has it got? It's got accelerometers, which is pretty standard, and that detects steps, detects movement. That's going to be evaluating how far you walk, and there's really great algorithms that Fitbit has that I think are better than anyone else's, that will track steps, even if you've got your hand on a stroller, for example. I mean, I push my kids in a stroller when I'm walking, and that can sometimes mess up wearables, but it doesn't mess up the Fitbit Sense. It's still totally capable of giving me a step reading that's very accurate, even if I'm pushing something or whatever. They've just been doing this for so long that their algorithms are really accurate. And let me show up the step count here. So we get all this data about total number of steps for the day. And that's just the basic, you'd expect that from any wearable. What it adds, though, is you also have heart rate tracking. So as I turn this around, you might be able to see there's a little blinking green light on the back. It's actually shining light into your wrist, and it's tracking how your blood is flowing, and that is able to determine your heart rate right on the watch. So that's helpful for tracking what fat burn zone you're in or fitness zone that you're in. Somebody says in here on the chat, oh, OMG, it's Tom, huge fan of your shoppable videos. Thank you so much. Oh, congrats. Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming out and saying hi. It's great to see other influencers on here. So thank you for coming along and joining. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions about any of the stuff I'm talking about here. I'm sharing right now my my favorite holiday deals, and there's so many great tech gadgets. And again, I really like to share gadgets that I use over the long term. You know, it's easy enough to get something and try it out briefly, but I actually have used the Fitbit Sense smartwatch, for over a year, literally almost every hour of every day. So I see a question here in the chat. I like the Fitbit. How does it compare to the Apple Watch? Have you used the Apple Watch? The difference with this, I would say, is that the Apple Watch honestly is better for apps. So if you use Apple devices and you want to get those sort of the best apps, and you want to use your smartwatch really as an extension of your phone, then the Apple Watch is the best option for that, honestly. So the Fitbit Sense, great smartwatch, but not the best for apps. And again, these are all my opinions, but there's some apps on it. You can get like the New York Times, you can get Starbucks, you can get Spotify and that kind of thing. But my gripe with it is that the apps aren't very reliable and there aren't that many of them. Versus Apple, with the Apple Watch, there's a ton of apps. There's going to be great tie-ins to your phone, and you can do a lot with it with that. Though the difference is, with the Fitbit Sense, they're really focused on fitness. And they always have been. That's always been what they've been best at. They've always been a okay smartwatch in terms of apps, a really awesome smartwatch in terms of their ability to monitor your body, to monitor fitness, and to really do best-in-class tracking of those sort of physical parameters. So that's the main difference, I would say. If you're looking for a watch that's really great for apps, this isn't the one to do necessarily. If you're looking for something that's going to be absolutely best in class, better than the Apple Watch for tracking all kinds of things about your workout and about your day-to-day physical state, then the Fitbit Sense is definitely the best option. So a couple reasons why that is. Again, you get the heart rate tracking, you get the step tracking, both really helpful, but it also has this really advanced suite of sensors that you can use to track all kinds of other things. So it actually has a skin temperature sensor built into the back. You can see the shiny little back of the watch here. And that's going to measure your skin temperature when you're sleeping. And it'll actually tell you if it's elevated, which can be an indication of too warm of a sleep environment, or even potentially that you could be getting sick, Fitbit says. Some other things that are really great with it, it's got a stress measurement sensor in it, believe it or not. The bezel of the watch is actually an electrodermal activity sensor. And you can do a stress reading where you actually pull up an app on the watch and you put your hand on top of this bezel, and it actually measures the electrical conductivity of your skin over a 2-minute period. You can do breathing, you can do meditations, and it'll actually tell you your physical stress level and track that over time. And it takes that and it takes heart rate variability and other factors, and it actually gives you a stress score for each day that tells you what your stress level is for that day. And that's super helpful to have that metric. I'll try to pull this up on the Fitbit app. Here's our stress management metric. It's out of 100, and again, it's taking into account multiple different factors from those readings, self-reported stress levels, your heart rate variability, how much you've exercised, and it gives you the stress management metric that tells you how well you're doing with managing your stress. And I see there's another question here about the Apple Watch community versus the Fitbit community. Yes, one of the really cool things about the Fitbit is that you can actually get this community function, and I'll show that here. There's groups in the Fitbit app that this Fitbit Sense allows you to tie into. You can compete with your friends and see how many steps you've gotten versus how many steps they've gotten. I'm not going to pull them up because I don't know if they want to be on the live stream, but you can join groups with people who have similar interests. Like, I'm into strength training. You can get a strength training group and compete with members on there and see, and talk to them and get advice. So it really ties into a bigger community, and that's great to see. And that's obviously helpful for mental health and stress management overall too. But my favorite is just being able to do that stress tracking right on the watch. I think that's a really cool function. And again, this is so important. Especially I think everybody's discovered how important it is to manage stress, and that's something Fitbit is trying to give you, these physical tools to do that, these metrics to be able to observe and say, hey, if I exercise more, my stress management improves. If I'm too sedentary, my stress level goes up and my management score goes down, and you can track this day to day. The other thing that Fitbit does a really great job of with these sensors on this Fitbit Sense is sleep tracking. So you can actually track your sleep using the Fitbit Sense smartwatch. I've used Fitbits for almost actually over a decade now, since 2009. So I'm a long-term Fitbit user. I've used basically every one of their devices over time. And the Fitbit Sense is so cool because all their modern Fitbits now actually will track your sleep without you having to switch on sleep tracking. So with the early wearables, you had to physically say, okay, I'm going to go to sleep now. That was kind of stressful because it was like, all right, now I need to sleep. It's monitoring me. But with the Fitbit Sense, it automatically detects when you fall asleep, it automatically detects when you wake up, and it'll log your sleep for you automatically. And it doesn't actually just give you the time you were asleep, it does give you that. You can see my sleep tracking numbers for the previous night, which are not particularly great, 5 hours and 38 minutes of sleep. But you can actually then get your sleep stages. So you can see how long you spent in each sleep stage. And that's light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. So this is really very accurate and gives you a chart, you can see here from the Fitbit Sense, of how you slept the night before. And you can get this for the last several weeks too and track your sleep level over time. And the sleep stages are really helpful because that tells you a lot about how the quality of sleep, not just how long you slept for, but actually did you get a restful and restorative sleep. And you want to balance that. So you want to be in light sleep for some parts of the night. That's the time when your body is, you're asleep, but you're sort of still somewhat active. You're tossing and turning, maybe you're moving around. And then the deep sleep is that physically restorative sleep where you're out, you don't remember anything, you're just totally exhausted. You're really restoring your body at that point. And then REM sleep, rapid eye movement it's called, is actually a sleep stage where you're dreaming. And your eyes are actually moving around inside. Your eyes are closed, but they're moving around. And that's where the sort of mental restoration happens, according to Fitbit. So tracking those different levels of sleep in those different stages throughout the night, you're able to get a breakdown of how long you spent in each sleep stage. And you can say from that, okay, how am I going to feel the next day? If I didn't get a lot of REM sleep, I might be more mentally kind of tired today. If I didn't get a lot of deep sleep, I might be more physically tired during the day. And it's really nice to be able to get those metrics, again, with that really advanced sleep tracking with the Fitbit Sense. You just get so much information on your sleep, and you can make improvements. Like, okay, if I exercise today, do I get more deep sleep? Usually, personally, I do. If I go to sleep earlier, do I get better sleep? Did I get more REM sleep if I didn't have caffeine late in the day? You can do these experiments, and that's where, again, the Fitbit Sense just seems like it's such a great tracking device. And yeah, thank you for the in the chat here. I see. Love that you're sharing so much information about sleep monitoring. Great information. Thank you. I appreciate that. Battery life. We have a question about battery life. So yeah, one of the cool things about the Fitbit Sense, even with all these advanced metrics, the battery life is pretty good. I get about 3 or 4 days of runtime with this. And I had a comment here that the Apple Watch needs to be charged every night. Yeah, so that's the difference between having all those great apps on the Apple Watch versus this is a little bit more basic. You can actually change the screen settings on here. So I have it set so that the screen is usually off and I have to wake it up, and that preserves the battery life really well over time. If you're just joining me, we're talking live about top holiday gadget deals. Right now we're talking about the Fitbit Sense, most advanced health tracking wearable out there, and it is really a really great deal at the moment. You can get it for $199, which is really unheard of. It's probably about oh gosh, I'm not even sure, like half of what I paid for it when I originally got it. So if you're looking for it for a deal, it's $100 off the normal price. And that's a really good deal right now. So if you're thinking about getting a Fitbit Sense, this is really the best time to do it. It's perfect if you're going into the new year and you've made some resolutions and you want to keep yourself accountable. Again, as we were talking about earlier in the chat there, you can actually compete with communities that you either form through your own friends have Fitbits, or you can find a community with a similar interest and compete with other people there. That's a great way to keep yourself accountable over time. Make sure that you're honoring those resolutions you may set for yourself coming into the new year. So this is a great holiday gift for anybody who's a fitness buff in your life, or somebody who likes to work out, or for yourself if you want to be really setting some of those goals for the new year. And those goals don't have to be fitness related. It can be fitness. Fitbit is great at tracking that. You can track all different exercises. So I'll show there's an exercise app on here, and we can actually go in and select things like, okay, I'm going to run on the treadmill, or I'm going to go on the elliptical now. You can select all different kinds of exercise that this will track. You can even track swimming, see your number of laps if you're swimming. So those are great to be able to have those advanced ways to track exercise. But again, if you're trying to make other improvements like reducing your stress levels, having that stress management metric, tracking that over time, and there's even some tools from Fitbit for deep breathing, for meditations, and that kind of thing that you can experiment with and see if that improves your stress metrics over time, as well as things like the sleep and stress and exercise are all combined together. So if you exercise more, it's probably going to improve your sleep tracking or your sleep metrics, and probably improve your stress metrics. If you sleep better, you're going to get a better stress score. So it all sort of ties together into this very holistic picture of wellness. One other really awesome feature that I want to highlight here that's really cool on the Fitbit Sense, it has an Ecg app. So this allows you to actually take a heart health reading right on the watch. And it's actually an FDA cleared function. So this is really a cool thing to have on there, just a little extra bonus capability with the Fitbit Sense. And you actually just put your fingers on it. You have to sit still for about 30 seconds, and it'll give you an Ecg reading that actually warns you of potential arrhythmias, and it gives you a report you can even share with your doctor so they can analyze that with you. And so just a nice screening tool. I mean, obviously, if you have any kind of symptoms, you should always check with your doctor, but if you want to do just a screening and detect these things that might otherwise go unseen, it is FDA cleared, and that's really cool to have that right on your watch to be able to do an Ecg reading, no matter where you are. So really great stuff with sleep, really great tracking for fitness. Fitbit just actually introduced a new score. So I love doing strength training. You can see my weight set up behind me there. And if you do that, it's really important to take rest days between. You don't want to always be lifting. And so there's this new daily readiness metric. And this actually looks at your level of activity and some other things about your heart rate behavior over time, and it actually gives you a metric for how ready you are for strenuous exercise. And so right now, today, my readiness score is 50 out of 100, so I could do a workout, but probably not at my peak. And you can see, actually, if I look at the peaks and troughs in this little graph, you can see what days I worked out, because Thursday, my score was way low. Saturday, Sunday rather, my score was way low. That's because on the previous days I had done a more strenuous workout. And you can see it builds back up over time. And this is based on your actual physical, the time you spent in different zones, your recent sleep, your heart rate variability, other metrics that the Fitbit Sense is tracking for you. And it gives you this ability to see whether you're ready for a strenuous workout or whether you should do something, maybe a lighter, lower intensity workout like a walk or something instead of heavy lifting. And that's great because you can see all kinds of different helpful metrics in there that help you figure out how should I work out, how well am I sleeping, what's my stress level been like, what can I do to make improvements to all those scores. There's also these health metrics that I think are really cool. So all of that data that's gathering, you can actually see that exposed in the app here. And you get things like your breathing rate tracked over time. You get your heart rate variability, which is a really helpful metric for sort of overall levels of physical engagement in your body. So it's a good thing. There's more data. I'm basing all this on what Fitbit says about these metrics. So you can read a ton more in the app here and learn about what these things specifically mean. Skin temperature you can track over time and see. Again, the Fitbit Sense has a skin temperature reading built into the back. And you can or sensor rather, you can actually read your skin temperature as you sleep, and that's a really cool really cool function that you don't get on some other wearables, with the ability to track these really detailed metrics like skin temperature with these advanced sensors built into the Fitbit Sense. Despite that, it's super light. Again, 3 or 4 days battery life, and it is waterproof. So you can wear it in the shower, you can wear it in the pool, you can even track swimming with the Fitbit Sense. The bands on it, they can wear out over time. I actually have still been using the same band since the beginning, but it's really easy. There's a little button you can press to detach the band, and you can swap new ones in. You can get more sort of fancy ones if you want to take this to work. Mine is more of the sort of utilitarian workout-oriented band, but it's nice to have something that is waterproof, that you can take in the pool or wear in the shower. And I really only take mine off to charge it at this point, because you can wear it all the time and get that 24-hour day heart rate reading, and also the sleep tracking, which is really nice. So any questions at all, feel free to put them in the chat. We've had some great questions coming in here, so thank you for that. Again, happy to answer any questions that you have about the Fitbit Sense. And any of the other gadgets that I'm talking about here in the chat. If you're enjoying this, please do press the follow button. It's really helpful to have that, and then you can follow me and get all of my live streams in the future. So if you're not already following me, please do press that button down below, and you can follow along. If you do like the Fitbit Sense, if you've been enjoying learning about it, and you think you might want one, now is a perfect time to get it. It's really a great deal. So it's only $199.95, under $200 for this, the most advanced health tracking smartwatch out there, and it's been that way for a year. You know, no one's really been able to take down the Fitbit Sense in terms of its health tracking abilities. And so if you're considering it either as a gift for a family member or for yourself to track and be accountable for your New Year's resolutions, get one now. Now is a perfect time to get the Fitbit Sense. I really have not seen better deals on it than this, and I've been experimenting with this for quite a long time. So I think it's a great time to do that, to dive in and get started and start to make those health improvements. We talked too about the Kindle Oasis. I'll highlight that again. If you've been on the stream for a while, thank you. Please do ask any questions you have about the Kindle Oasis now. This is my top pick for an e-reader. I love the e-ink screen. I love that it's waterproof. I love that it's super portable. Really great device there. And again, thank you. I see Chelsea saying hi and started following. Thank you, Chelsea. Any questions that you have, please do ask them in the chat. Happy to answer any questions. These are some of my top picks for deals on gadgets over the holidays. And all of these are things that I've used in the long term. Things I've used in my own house for months, even years in some cases at a time. As I was saying with the Fitbit Sense smartwatch here, I've been wearing this almost nonstop since September of 2020, so over a year now, and I can tell you it is a really, really great device. So yeah, thank you, Chelsea, for joining, and thank you to everybody who's come along and asked so many great questions on the chat here. Let's dive in and take a look at some other devices here. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about another device. This is actually one I've used for more than a year. This is something I got during the wildfire season in California. I live in California, and we get, unfortunately, pretty bad wildfires at this point. And so I got this device to respond to the smoke that I would get in my house during those wildfires. And this is the Medify Air Ma25 Air Purifier. And thank you. I see a comment. Your knowledge and experience with these tech products is great. Thank you. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. That's probably product more of just using them for such a long time. You know, these are things that, again, I've been able to make use of in my own house. It looks like another also from the Bay Area. That's great to hear. Very cool. So yeah, if you're in the Bay Area or anywhere where you get wildfire smoke, then you definitely want to have some kind of an air purifier in your home. And I love the Medify Air Purifiers because they are a medical grade purifier. So you always want to get a HEPA filter. HEPA, high efficiency particulate I forget the A, but in any event, it's a filter that's designed to remove small particulates from the air. And a standard HEPA filter will do a great job of that. So it'll remove something like 97% of small particulates, 99% down to 1 micron. These are very, very tiny particles like you get in wildfire smoke. And other things, allergens, even bacteria, the carriers of viruses and bacteria that float around in the air, very, very tiny particles, and a HEPA filter will take care of that. The Medify Air Purifiers, though, are actually a little bit higher standard. They're an H13 HEPA filter, and a higher efficiency particulate air. Okay, that's thank you for that, for what a HEPA filter means. It seems like a weird acronym, actually, because I guess it's high efficiency particulate air, and then you say filter. So I guess that makes sense. Yeah. So anyway, this is a HEPA 13, so H13, a little bit higher standard than your traditional HEPA. It's going to remove actually 99.9% of particles down to 0.1 microns. So those are very tiny particles, a very high efficiency filter. And the Ma25 is a great purifier that's on sale at the moment. Really good price on it, and it's actually a medical grade HEPA filter with that higher standard. And I actually learned about it. I see ATM as machine. Yeah, it never makes sense. Kind of an acronym that's a little self-referential there. But in any event, this I actually learned about through my dentist, believe it or not, and they used this in their office. So it really can be used in a medical setting, but you can get it for your home too. And I found the Metaphy Air Purifiers. I've actually worked with them on reviewing other purifiers. This one I bought with my own money, so this is not a sponsored one, but I have worked with them in other capacities. So this has actually 2 HEPA filters, H13 filters. And you can see you can open from both sides. And I'll pull one of those out and you can see what it looks like. It's really thick. It's got these big kind of pleats on the side, and it's got a carbon filter on the inside. And that's going to remove not only those small particulates, but also it'll get rid of odors and things in the air, which is great if you're cooking over the holidays, if you've got pets, if you've got any other reason why you might have a lot of odors in your home, then it's nice to have that ability to filter those out in addition to getting those small particulates. And again, with those 2 filters on each side, this is able to move quite a lot of air and purify the air in a pretty good sized space. So I think definitely this works great for a space up to about 300, 350 square feet for very continuous purification of the air. You can even use it in a bigger space if you want to purify the air a little less frequently, maybe once an hour instead of once every half an hour. I think it's great for a bigger bedroom, even a small living room. And this is sort of their mid-size purifier from Medify Air. And it's, again, a great deal. So this is the first Medify Air Purifier I ever got. And right now it's on sale for $128, which is a really, really good deal on this purifier. Again, that H13, higher medical grade standard. If you get wildfire smoke like I do in California, this will take care of it. I actually have a PM2.5, which is that small particulate meter, and I actually monitor the performance of all my air purifiers in my home to make sure that they're working, and this really does remove particles. So it can be 150 on the air quality index in the house if a lot of smoke has gotten in during wildfire season. Switch this on, about half an hour, it drops that number to 20. So it's a very significant improvement, and this really does work. You know, sometimes you get these devices and you think, well, is it really doing anything? Because you can't see the particles in the air in most cases, and this actually does. I can verify that. So simple controls, plugged it in here. There's a button on, and say, never actually measured the particulates in my air. And I see another question, are the filters reusable or do they need to be replaced? If so, what's the cost to replace the filters? Great questions. So they are not reusable. You do have to replace them periodically. What you can do though is there's a pre-filter on here. So when I take this out, you can see there's the HEPA is inside. It's a little hard to see on the camera, but there's these big pleats that are going to capture a bunch of those small particulates. There's also this pre-filter that's more like dust. And there's actually, I can even like pull them off. There's all dust bunnies that build up on there. So you can actually take a vacuum cleaner and you can actually vacuum this pre-filter and get those bigger particles like dust and hair, and it's actually floating around me now in the air, and remove those with your vacuum cleaner, and that'll prolong the filter life. I find that the filters on this will last for about 6 months. with relatively frequent use. So the filters actually do last quite a long time. Part of that is that there are 2 filters in the Ma25, so they wear down a little bit more slowly than if you just had the single filter. And that's a good question about the price. Let me actually check on that for the filters. You can definitely pretty readily get replacement filters. I'll take a look at that and see what they were priced at. I'm going to say that's probably around $100 for 2 replacement filters, but let me take a look and see exactly what the replacement cost is on those. Let's see. Yeah, so the filters for that, you can also get, let's see, so actually, yeah, $44 for replacement filters. So that's actually better than, these are genuine filters from Medify Air. Yeah, $45 basically for 2 replacement filters, it looks like. So yeah, you can't reuse them, unfortunately, but you know, when you figure the device itself only costs $128, if you replace the filters every 6 months or so, you know, you're talking $100 a year for filters for a device that's going to really improve the air quality in your house. Small particulates can really be, you know, a very serious thing. There's a lot of research coming out now indicating that you really don't want this stuff in your air, so it's great for that. On a previous stream, I actually had somebody write in and say that they might be here, I'm not sure, I can take a peek and see, but that they actually bought a Medify Air Purifier and they used it for a family member who had allergies. And that's a great application too, because this will take the pollen out of your air, and it really does lead to a lot of good improvements on your indoor air quality in your home, even if you don't live in a wildfire-prone place, especially over the holidays if you're cooking. I have, again, my PM 2.5 meter, and I'll measure the small particulates in the air. And actually, when I cook, especially if I'm like frying something or baking something, the particulates get way, way, way elevated. You know, sometimes 200 or 300 on an AQI if I have something smoky, you know, that I'm cooking on the stove. And this will power through that or clear all that stuff out of your air. And that's great over the holidays. We all do a lot more cooking and baking. We have a lot more people in our house. If you have pets, this is great too. I have 2 small dogs, so it'll get rid of that pet dander and pet hair and things that'll circulate there. Again, really helpful if you have any family members who do have allergies. And this is a great price, $128. It's down from the normal price of $160, which is already a good deal. And thank you to Amy who asked about the question about filters. And I see, thanks for that super important answer. You're welcome. Please feel free to ask any questions that you have. Very happy to answer them. I love answering your questions about any of these products. We can always jump around. You can see I featured this one here, so you can check it out, click through. And if you're enjoying this, please do follow me. You can see there's a big button down below that says follow with a little plus mark. Press that, follow along. You'll see my future live streams. I love to find new products and highlight them. This one I've been using for about 2 years, I would say, in my home. So I've definitely gotten a lot of knowledge of the Metaphy Air Ma25. I have worked with the brand on other products, so just want to point that out, but this one I actually bought with my own money. This is one I got because my dentist recommended it to me and said that they used it in their own their own practice there. So yeah, new follower. Thank you, PC Techno Geek, and thank you for the endorsement there. I appreciate it, yeah, really appreciate that. Is that David? I don't see I thought that was correct, but I wasn't sure with the screen name on there. Is that David, who's been helping out here? Yeah, perfect. Okay, great. I got your name right. Good. I didn't want to say it until I was sure because I see just your influencer name there. So thank you, David, thank you for the endorsement. But yeah, so if you're enjoying this, please do follow. I love to talk about these products. And you can tune in and follow along. And please do ask any questions. Really great question from Amy about filter life and about replacing the filters. You can, again, vacuum them out to prolong the life. I like to do that every month. You can also get the new filters that are only about $45. So I was surprised. I thought it was going to be like $100 for 2 filters, and it looks like it's only about $45. So, you know, really the overall cost over time for this is not that high for what it's giving you. So basic controls on here, super easy. 2 for $76.79. Okay, that's strange. I saw maybe I was looking at one filter, or maybe I was looking at one that was on sale in some way. Even if it is 76 for them, it's still a great deal over time. I'll have to confirm that for my next stream. But in any event, you're going to spend a lot less than the cost of the purifier to replace the filters, and I think that's the mark of a good purifier. Some of them out there, they price the unit so low, and then they try to sell you really high-priced filters. Metafy, that's not the business that they're in. So the units are really good. It's maybe a little more of a premium price on the actual unit, but again, you're getting that H13 filter. Less than $39 per filter, right? Okay, because there's 2 filters in the unit. Yeah. So to Amy, yeah, it's I guess a little bit more than the $100 a year I quote. It's like $150 a year if you're replacing both filters at each filter change. Still really good pricing, really good deal on that. And you can use these for more than 6 months if you're not in an environment with a lot of smoke. I like to switch them out because, again, I'm using this to filter for wildfire smoke, and I'm just, yeah, it's definitely good to know that you can swap these out pretty readily. So the controls are super basic. We just press this button on the top. It's got almost like a glass kind of touch screen on the top of it there, and that's going to switch the fan on. Let me lower my my desk here so you can see this a little bit more readily. Maybe we can even see the top of the unit here. And then we've got these just really basic functions to use the purifier. So I've got the fan on. There's a button where you can select the fan speed, and you can see here as I press that, it's going to ramp up. At the full speed, it's really quite a lot of air that it's moving, and again, that's why I can purify like a 350 square foot room very easily. There's a dimmer if you don't want the little lights going on the top of it. Yeah, great to meet you. Thank you for tuning in, PC Techno Geek there, and thanks for following. If you're enjoying this, anyone following along here, please do follow me. That really, really helps. I appreciate it. There's a child lock and there's a timer. Very basic functions, super easy. It's got this nice, classy kind of glass touchscreen on the top. I see from Amy, I totally follow. I didn't know these live streams existed. I'm also going to go ahead and buy one of these to try. Great, wonderful. Yeah, it's searching for air purifiers for over 3 years. Yeah, I've developed a weird, technical knowledge of air purifiers just from being a Californian and having to deal with wildfire smoke. And you can, if anybody does want to buy this, great deal right now, $128. You can click, it's featured now on the side there in the carousel. You can click through and get right to the product page and see it on there. So thank you so much for coming out and following that, and yeah, definitely pick one of these up. It's a great purifier. So basic functions, but again, you've got that H13 filtration, and I find this works great in my home. Again, bigger bedroom, smaller living room, an office, even again in that kind of medical setting like my dentist's office. I've seen people use these at doctor's offices for the waiting room. So if you are a doctor, if you own a small business, this is a great product to use. And thank you, Amy, for following. If any of you want to follow along with my other live streams, please do press the big follow button down below with that little plus sign. Thank you, David, for celebrating that. I appreciate that. And so yeah, this is a great purifier and a good kind of entry level, I think, into the world of Metaphy purifiers. They have a lot of great purifiers. Again, I've worked with the brand on some other, and thank you, LB Trust, it looks like. Thank you for following. Yeah, I really appreciate that. They've got some other big purifiers I'm not featuring on this stream, but this one is great to get started. And again, it is that H13, which I love because it's that higher standard of purification. And again, I verify all my purifiers. I don't trust that they're necessarily working. I use a PM2.5, professional PM2.5 meter in my home, test them in the real world, and this is the real deal. It really will take those particulates out of the air. And again, it's everything. It's cooking smoke, it's pet dander, it's allergens like pollen, really anything that you might get in your air that's going to be problematic or an issue for you. It's great to have this and to take those small particulates out. Even the carriers for bacteria and viruses floating around in the air, those kinds of small particles, this will help to remove that. So really great to have that from Medify Air here. Let's take a look at some other cool gadgets that are on sale at the moment. Kind of in the same, well, not the same vein, but similar in terms of being a household gadget that I think is really neat. This is one of my favorite gadgets. I'm gonna grab it and put it on the desk here. Just give me 1 second. losing my microphone. Let's see. Let's put this back on. This is proof that this is indeed live. It's the fun of a live stream. Thank you, David. Yeah, thank you for joining me, catching up. And yeah, this is indeed live, because I would not have kept this part of the video in if it wasn't. So you know I'm actually here. You know I'm actually ready to talk about any of these products with you live. And thank you again, David, to tune in. It was great to have you here on the stream, and really appreciate you coming out. If anybody is enjoying this and wants to follow me and see more of them, you can just press the big follow button down below. We've already had maybe 5 people so far, at least, just in the last maybe 20 minutes do that. And yeah, I'd love to connect, definitely. Thank you, David. That's great. So let's see, we've got the next product here. This is the, if I don't, if I don't see I'm going to drop the microphone again here. This is the Vitamix Food Cycler. And this is a really cool gadget. I think of it it's almost magical to me in some ways. So this is actually kind of like, you know, if you've seen the movie Back to the Future, and there's a classic scene towards the end where they have a DeLorean, it's a time machine, and they go to the future and get this device that takes garbage and turns it into fuel for the car. And this feels to me kind of like that in some ways. Obviously it doesn't take garbage and turn it into fuel for your car, but it takes food scraps that you would have around your house if you're cooking, or if you have, you know, food that you didn't finish, and it actually turns your food scraps into fertilizer for plants in your garden. And it does that in about 4 to 6 hours. So it's almost like a compost pile, taking food scraps and transforming them into fertilizer. But instead of taking months and requiring you to have these sort of rotting things in your backyard, it only takes about 4 to 6 hours. And it almost instantly, you know, 4 to 6 hours, same day, transforms your food scraps into this fertilizer that you can put in your garden and use on your plants. The way it does that, it's got this little canister inside of here, and you fill this with scraps, and that can be anything. Like if you're, you know, cooking over the holidays and you have vegetable end pieces or peels or whatever, throw those in there. Paper towels, anything biodegradable, coffee grounds, paper coffee filters, anything like that. Just throw it into this little bucket. Then you put this into the Vitamix Food Cycler. And you have to align, there's a little arrow. I'm never good at doing this live, but put that in. I actually got it, surprisingly. This just drops into the unit here. And then we take the lid on here, and we put this in and lock it into place. It's very secure, and stores it in there. If you're working on filling that bucket throughout the day, you can actually, it comes with a little carbon filter lid you put on top of it, and that protects the stuff in there so you don't get smells emanating out into your kitchen. So you fill that up throughout the day with scraps. If you're cooking in the kitchen, put that into the unit, and then you would just press the power button on here. You can see really simple controls on the top, and it actually will first dry those out, so it dehydrates everything you put into it until it's super, super dry over the course of several hours. And then it grinds it into a powder. And that powder is actually just like compost. It's a fertilizer you can then take and put in your garden, and it actually has all the nutrients of that food that otherwise would have gone to waste, and instead it actually becomes fertilizer for your plants. And again, it's like what you would get with a compost pile, except the compost pile will take you months, and this will take you about 4 to 6 hours. So it just runs. It's not super loud, and it actually has carbon filters on the back. So even if you're processing like onions or something kind of smelly, it does not stink up your kitchen. And I was surprised. I was kind of skeptical of that at first, but it actually works. It doesn't create smells. And I actually worked with Vitamix to review this, so thank you. They sent me this one to check out. Really appreciate that. And I've been using this for probably 9 months now. And so that's given me time to test it out, and also to verify that the fertilizer it produces actually works. So I use it in my own garden. I put it into a pot with some basil plants, and they just took off. It really does seem to have, and Vitamix has done studies to look at the nutrient content of the fertilizer created by this device. It's really good, and it actually, in my experience, works great as a soil amendment in the garden. So this is really cool from an ecological perspective because you're taking that food waste that you'd otherwise be throwing away or sort of sending out of your home, and it's creating this closed loop in your own space where you, ideally, maybe you've grown your own food, you eat the things you're not going to eat, you take them and put them in this machine, it turns them into fertilizer, you put it back out in your garden, and the cycle begins anew, and you're keeping all those nutrients in your own home sort of food system instead of throwing them away in a landfill. And I love that. I think it's a great, ecological benefit to having this device and just closing, that ecosystem within your own home and within your own space. Plus, it's just a way to cut down on waste. And if you're a gardener, it's a great way to have, compost like instantaneously. You don't have to wait, not quite instantaneous because it takes 4 to 6 hours, but you don't have to wait a whole season to compost and have that fertilizer ready to go. If you're just joining me, we are live. We're talking about the Vitamix food cycler. You can see it featured over on the side if you want to click through and check it out. This is a great deal right now. It's $100 off. It's $299.95, so under $300 for it. When you think about, if you had to buy the compost pile and the turner for that, and or buy all the compost you'd need for your own garden and fertilizers and that kind of stuff, that would probably take a long time. There'd definitely be a cost associated with it. This is so cool because it recycles, again, the food cycler, it recycles the food scraps that you generate in your home and turns them into this really amazing fertilizer for your garden. So you don't have to buy that fertilizer, and more to the point, it just keeps that nutrients in your garden and reduces your waste footprint. So I love that. I think it's a really cool device. Again, super easy. Just take this this unit out, you fill it with all of your scraps, drop it in, press the button. 4 to 6 hours later, you've got this powder. I usually let it kind of age for like a week before I put it on my plants. Water it well, and you get really great results. I've gotten really great results in my own garden using the output from this. If you're finding this helpful, please do follow me. We've had many people follow and ask questions in the chat too. So if you have any questions, please put those in the chat. Very happy to answer any questions you have about the food cycler, any other devices. Just type those out. Again, press that follow button down below me with a little plus. Not the one on the screen here, but down below. If you are enjoying this and you want to see my other future live streams with different products. So this is on sale for the holidays. Great for holidays because you're probably doing a lot of cooking. You probably have a lot of scraps. Maybe you feel badly that you're throwing away all this stuff. Maybe you have a lot of leftovers you don't get to eat. You can take any of those sort of plant-based leftovers, drop them in here, press the button, and 4 to 6 hours later, they're fertilizer. Really cool. Again, it's like that. It reminds me of that Back to the Future. I think it's called the Mr. Fusion in there. It's not a real product, but kind of feels like that transformation and reusing those materials. So I love that, and this is really cool. I've been using this for about 9 months. Thank you again to Vitamix for giving me this unit to review. It's been really great. You can click through and check it out. $299.95, about $100 off the normal price, and perfect timing because I know I generate a lot more food waste over the holidays, and this allows me to take it, get it ready. You could save it if you live I live in California, but if you live in a cold climate, then it's great to be able to save that and save it up and then use it when you're doing your seed starting or when you start your garden in the spring and have a bunch of that ready to go. If you already compost, you can still use this. Just use it as more of a fertilizer or soil amendment, or throw the output into your existing compost pile. Because it's so concentrated, it'll actually improve the quality of your compost there. And it does get so hot that you can even use it for things like eggshells and that kind of stuff. It'll break it down, it'll make it into this nice fine powder, and then that becomes fertilizer for your plants. So any questions about this, please put them in the chat. Very happy to answer any questions that you have. Any questions about any of these products, actually, just type them out in the chat. We are live, happy to answer any of the questions that you might have about this or any of these other products that are all really great gadget deals. I love gadgets. I spend a lot of my time testing them. And again, in my own house, I use these over the course of many years. So definitely really great stuff to check out for the holidays. Let's go and take a look at something a little bit different. Let me put this guy away. I want to highlight 2 Amazon devices that that are cool if you want to get into using the Echo ecosystem. So I'll put this down. And again, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm happy to grab any of these other products. If you just think it's funny to see me, carry that over, it is on the heavy side, please just let me know, and I'm totally happy to grab it again and demo any of these again. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about, these are two different Amazon devices. Both of them are very steeply discounted at the moment, so a great time to be getting these. This is the Amazon Echo Dot 4th generation. So I'll plug it in, we'll see it come on. It'll take a second to warm up. And this is the sort of, I'd say mid-level Amazon Echo. It doesn't have a screen, but it does, as we'll see in a second, have a little clock readout on the front. And that's helpful because it gives you the time, and it'll also show some other information on there. It's got a light around the side. The colors of that light ring indicate a lot of useful information as you're using the device. You can see it's connecting to my Wi-Fi now. At the same time, I'm going to plug in, let's see if these two will go on here together. I'm going to unplug this for a sec so we can get both of these going. You can see it's a little sibling, I would say, here. This is the Amazon Echo Dot 3rd generation. So I'll highlight, this is the 4th generation and the 3rd generation here. And we'll get them both up and running, and then we'll test these out, and I can show you how both of them work. The 3rd generation, this is the simplest, cheapest Dot Echo device that you can get at the moment. It's only $19.99, so it was already inexpensive at $39.99. Now it's 50% off for the holidays, and that means it is only $19.99. So if you've thought about getting started with an Amazon Echo and you want to get to start to use a smart speaker, or if you want to add another one to your house, I know I have them in almost every room. This is a great buy because it is tiny, it is super, super cheap. I mean, 20 bucks, you can put 5 of these in your house for it's not even $20, it's $19.99. So for $100, you could put 5 of these and have one in every room and have access to all the features that I'm going to show in a second. So great deal on that. It is more basic, does not have the clock, does not have some of the sort of better, I guess I would say, speaker quality than the Echo Dot 4th generation, which I'm showing over here. But two very similar devices, the Dot 3rd generation, the Dot 4th generation. Really not much of a difference in price, honestly. The Echo Dot 4th generation is a great deal now too. It's $34.99, down from $59.99. So it's also it's about 41% off. So both of these are steeply discounted for the holidays. And both of them are a great entry point into the world of the Amazon Echo and the Amazon voice assistant and this sort of smart speaker world in general. So both of these are going to use Amazon's voice service. I'm going to show one at a time. So I'm going to disable the microphone. There's an easy button on both of them. It's just a little circle with a little line through it, and that disables the microphone so it's not listening to you. Good to know about for privacy on a day-to-day basis. Helpful so I can switch one off and demo the other one. So these are smart speakers, and they're tied into Amazon's ecosystem, and you can ask with your voice for all kinds of stuff that they will then deliver. And they'll recognize your voice without any kind of training, just out of the box, it knows you. And it'll integrate with your Amazon account, so you can ask it to do all kinds of helpful stuff. So I can say, for example, Alexa, what's the weather in San Francisco, California?
Currently, in San Francisco, California, it's 54 degrees Fahrenheit with cloudy skies. Today, you can expect lots of clouds, with a high of 57 degrees and a low of 49 degrees.
So again, using my voice, you can see there I'm able to get a weather report. I'm able to get all kinds of data through the voice interface. And it's far field, so I can be a good distance away from these devices. I'm only a few feet now, but I can still say, Alexa, what's the weather in San Ramon, California?
Right now in San Ramon, California, it's 53 degrees Fahrenheit with cloudy skies. Today's forecast has lots
Alexa,
of clouds.
Stop. And you can, as you can see, stop it, but I can be far away from it. I can not be touching it at all and still be controlling with my voice with the Echo Dot. And it's got that nice clock on the front, so you could get, basic time readout too, and other kinds of information on there. And you can do all kinds of stuff. So I can create a to-do list, for example, and I can say, Alexa, add buy apples to my to-do list.
I've put buy apples on your to-do list.
So I can get that list, and then I can pull it up in the Alexa app on my phone, and I can actually see all the stuff that it's added to my list, and I can go to the store, and I can actually check things off of my list there as I'm shopping for them, which is super helpful, hands-free. You're walking around the house, you forget you need something, especially around the holidays. You can add that to your list and know exactly what you need to go out and buy, and or things you need to do, and you can create your own custom lists. So I really enjoy that. It's nice to be able to have that functionality, to be able to add things to a shopping list or a to-do list and get them right on the app on your phone. You can also listen to music, so that's one of the really cool things. I can say, Alexa, play a holiday playlist.
Here's Sesame Street Christmas, including Oscar the Grouch and Zoe, on Amazon Music.
So it's going to pull up some music. In this case, it pulled up some kids' music, probably because it knows that I have kids, and it's going to play that. And you can ask by artist, you can ask by genre, like I did. Alexa, stop. So you can get music, you can get sports scores, you can get all kinds of really helpful information on the Echo Dot here. You can also, with the physical buttons on the top here, you can control the volume. So I can make it louder, I can make it softer, and it has an auxiliary port on the back. So if you want to have better sound quality with this, you can actually plug it into your existing hi-fi or stereo system and use this as a smart speaker tied into your stereo and play really good quality music if you have a nice stereo setup at home. So that's a nice tie-in. Again, voice interaction, pulling up that music through Amazon, all kinds of other functions. You can also make a phone call with it. So you can say, call the name of a business or call a cell phone number, and it'll actually do a voice call where it's hands-free, and you can be walking around your house and doing a call with anyone where you can just put in a phone number with your voice. If you're just joining me, we're talking live about the Amazon Echo Dot 4th generation. We're also talking about the Echo Dot 3rd generation. Both of these are on sale, super inexpensive at the moment. It's a great time to buy them. The Dot 3rd generation right now is only $19.99, so under $20 for this one. The Dot 4th generation is $34.99. You can see all the products I'm talking about over in the carousel, featuring this one right now. I'll switch that up. You can click through if you want to check any of them out. If you're enjoying this too, please do follow me. It really helps. There's a button down below you can press, the big follow button with a plus, and you'll get all of my live streams and deals and be in the know about the latest gadgets as they come out, especially as we get further into the holiday season. Deals come out every day, and so I'm here monitoring and talking about them, and I'll share them with you if you're still doing your holiday shopping and you haven't decided what to get yet. Especially for that gadget lover in your life. I use these things on a day-to-day basis, and follow me, and I can tell you about everything as it comes out here on these live streams. So Echo Dot with the 3rd generation here, under $20, basically the same functionality as the Echo Dot 4th generation. The speaker, maybe not quite as great on the 3rd generation. I like the speaker sound quality a bit better on the 4th generation, but both of these are really great devices. Both of them have the exact same service with voice recognition and smart speakers, ties into the same platform, so you can ask for all the same kinds of questions and do all of those same functions. And so that's really great because you can add one of these, again, in any room of your house and be able to talk to Alexa and add to your list. I can put one in the garage. I like that the Echo Dot, I think the big thing I'd say that's nice about the 4th generation here, it's more of a kind of a fabric-y look, maybe a little more organic with this nice big curved kind of dot and the nice light that illuminates underneath it. This is a little bit, the 3rd generation is a little more sort of functional looking, I think. This is the one I actually use in my kids' nursery because it just fits in with the decor. A little more organic, a little more rounded. The clock is really nice to have, just to have an extra clock in your house, versus this Again, it's like a little hockey puck. Still looks fine. Still has this little fabric on the side, but I'd say it's not as kind of friendly looking, I guess, as the fourth generation. So I think they've made some improvements over time. Otherwise, same functionality, really. I mean, same auxiliary port, same voice recognition capabilities, the same ability to change the volume using physical buttons, or you can use your voice to change the volume. And you can also mute both of them so that they're not listening to you, which is really important for privacy perspectives. Yeah, if you have any questions about them, please put it in the chat. I'll just say, please put your questions in the chat over here, and I'm very happy to answer. I love answering all of your questions. Please just let me know, and I'm happy to answer, try things out, or whatever would be helpful to you in evaluating any of these products. Also, if you're enjoying this, if you're finding this helpful in any way at all, super easy to just press the follow button down below me. It really helps me, so feel free to follow along if you want to get all of my live streams in the future. We've already had probably about 10 people follow along during this live stream, so they'll be able to get all my future deals as I monitor these things and keep you posted about the best gadgets as these come out. And again, I've been doing this for a while. I've been using these products for a while, and these are really things that I use in my home on a day-to-day basis. So if you have any questions, I'd love to dive in and answer any of those. Just put those in the chat, and I'm very happy to answer that. Again, really nice device for baby room. Nice device if you want to have this sort of more organic type of look to your smart speaker here with the Echo Dot 4th generation. If you don't mind something a little more functional, Echo Dot 3rd generation is cheaper. Both of them are very good deal. It's a great time to buy them. This one is actually 50% off right now. I don't think you're gonna get a better price than under $20 for a smart speaker. So now's a great time to dive in and get that. And if you're curious, you just want to try out a smart speaker and you don't have one, or you have a family member that you think would like to try it out, this is just so easy and inexpensive at the moment. It's a great way to get your foot in the door with that and try it out. And you can always add other Echo devices in the future if you want to get. There's some really nice ones that have screens and more capabilities and functionality. But this is a great way to just get going, try it out, and see if you like it. Again, either of these really, the Echo Dot 3rd generation or the 4th generation, just because they are so steeply discounted right now. You're not going to find a better price than $34.99 in the case of the Echo Dot 4th generation, and $19.99 for the 3rd generation. That's a really good deal for a really pretty capable piece of hardware, honestly, even though it's small. Good sound quality, good ability to play music for the holidays. It's nice to have that. You could even put this if you have a covered area outside. Put one outside, turn the volume up, use it for your patio outdoor gathering. I've done that in the past. It works great. And you can just ask to play any of the music you have in your Amazon library, and anything where you can stream it there. Any questions, please put them in the chat. If you're enjoying this live stream, please do press the follow button down below. Follow along, get my other live streams in the future. Stay up to date on the best gadgets as new ones come out, new deals come out. There's so many great deals this holiday, so many great things on sale on Amazon that you can check out. So yeah, we talked about a lot of different great devices between the Fitbit Sense smartwatch and Stop Me. Just let me know in the chat if you want to talk or learn more about any of these. Just ping me, say in there, hold on a second, or ask your question. Fitbit Sense smartwatch, really my favorite advanced wearable smartwatch. The Kindle Oasis, great gift for a reader. This is the top of the line Amazon Kindle e-reader, e-ink screen, so it's like reading a real book. And it's waterproof, so you can take it to the beach or read in the tub if you want a little moment to yourself over the holidays. Really great device for that. It also has this Kindle premium leather cover that you can get for it. I love that because it's like a real old book cover on it. Shows wear deliberately, so you get this patina of scratches that's unique to your device, and it even smells like a leather book, like a leather bound volume. So really cool, full sort of sensory experience there. We just talked about the Echo Dot 4th generation and the Echo Dot 3rd generation. Two great devices if you want to kind of dive into the Amazon Echo ecosystem, try it out. And we also talked about the Vitamix food cycler that you can see back here. Neat device, takes your food scraps, turns them into compost in about fertilizer in about 4 to 6 hours. Really great to reduce your waste footprint, and great for cooking over the holidays when you have those scraps that you just feel badly about throwing away, or a thing of leftover vegetables that nobody ate and it's been sitting in your fridge for a week. Just don't throw it in the garbage. Put it in this device. It'll process it into fertilizer, spread it on your plants outside, and it'll help them grow stronger. Really does work. Works for house plants too. If you're in a cold climate, you're growing your plants indoors. Enrich the soil, turn your food scraps into something usable instead of just throwing them away. Food cycler, they sent me this one to check out from Vitamix, so thank you for that. And the Medify Air, we spoke for a while and we had a lot of quite a lot of excitement. I always get really happy about air purifiers, but it was nice to see other people that are very excited by that. So this is the Metaphy Air Ma25, and it's a great air purifier for the holidays, for any time, especially if you live in a climate where you get wildfire smoke like California. This will take care of it for you. I have my own PM 2.5 meter that I use to monitor how these air purifiers perform, and this one will actually do extremely well at removing those small particulates from the air. So definitely check this out if you're looking for a great purifier. Those are the gadgets that we've been talking about here. So I'm gonna just pause for a second here, and if you have any questions on any of this stuff, please do let me know in the chat. Yeah, very, very happy to answer any questions that you have. Just let me know and chime in there. And if you're liking this, if you've been following along, we've had a lot of people that seem to have been on here for a bit. Please do follow me. Press the button down below, the big plus sign down there with follow, and you can follow along with all of my future live streams. Get all those exclusive deals that I'm able to find. Also the general deals you can find on Amazon, and I'm just monitoring that all the time. So as the holiday season continues, you're going to see more and more of these great deals come out, and I'll be keeping an eye on them and sharing them with you here. So if you want to follow along, if you want to see the coolest new stuff, if you want to jump on these live streams and ask me a question about any of it, please do press that follow button. It really helps, and it's great to connect with everybody here. I think about 10 people so far have done that, so thank you to everybody who has followed along here. Yeah, I'll give a last final opportunity if anybody has questions about anything. Let me check and see if we have any other questions coming in the chats here. Yeah, feel free to put them in. Last call for any questions about any of these gadgets, any of the things we talked about here today. Feel free to put them in. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to share with you more gadgets and deals in the future. If you've been following along and you want to check any of these out, you can click through to any of them on the carousel on the side. And I really appreciate you coming out for my live stream, so thank you.